in a single person unless he has immense spiritual powers. In this case, he is called a real master, a person who is completely immersed in spiritual sciences.
Could a spiritual medium read others and know their inner thoughts?
In some cases, yes, if the gift of the medium that he has polished and worked hard on is centered upon this matter, then he would be able to know. He would not be able to know the details of your inner workings, such as listening to your thoughts, but he could sense your inner intentions, as well as what your thoughts are centered upon. I must warn the viewers that in many cases, cleverness play a large part for the person who claims to be a medium could know the psychological state of the person before him by studying his body language and the way he speaks, and so could tell how that person could act in the future. This is not true mediation. When I speak of true spiritual mediums, I speak of people who could, let us not say, know all your inner workings, but could deduce what you are thinking of based upon their senses, because they are able to deal with their souls on the highest levels of transparency, and so they are able to realize some of your soul's desires.
What are the harms of spiritual mediation?
The harms involving the practice of spiritual mediation could come from two sides. The first one comes from practicing one of the negative categories of mediation because, as we have said earlier, those practices come at a price, for they negatively affect the medium psychologically and sentimentally, as well as affecting his family and society as a whole. That is because demons or evil creatures would not service the medium unless there is a price to pay. On the other hand, if positive spiritual mediation was practiced, there would not be any harm on condition that it is practiced after meticulous study and awareness. Let me give you an example. Let us say a person wanted to practice bodybuilding in order to increase his muscle mass and obtain a chiseled look. If this person were to hire a good trainer, and if he went through the process gradually, he would be able to build those muscles through adequate training, and he would have a good physique and excellent health. On the other hand, if this person opted to take steroids and had practiced incorrect exercises just to get the good shape of the muscles, his muscles would tear and would possess no real strength. The same could be said of spiritual mediation, even if the positive aspects of it were practiced, if we push ourselves beyond our capacities, and if we practice the wrong exercises. This is the responsibility of the teacher. Therefore, I advise against going into the spiritual sciences without having an instructor or a teacher with vast experience in these matters, because spirituality is very vast, and you could get lost in its many terms. And just the negative ones, but also in the positive aspects of it. If a person had not enough knowledge and experience, he could inflict great harm upon himself, or use his powers in the wrong way, because they were not built correctly.
What are the powers possessed by the spiritual medium?
Spiritual mediums vary in their powers, for the categories of spiritual mediation determine the nature of the powers possessed by the medium. As we see in the world around us, many people are known for their magic tricks or quickness of the hands. Some are famous magicians. However, many are not magicians, but possess superpowers, or as known in the field of parapsychology, as abnormal abilities that are fed into their bodies through their aura or electromagnetic field. The normal person has a certain range of vibration fed to him by the aura, whereas the abnormal person has a higher range of vibration. Therefore, for every person it is different. A person could have super sight, where he could see beyond the physical reality. Another person could have super hearing. Another could have super strength, where he could bend metals easily, or carry cars and tow trains. Some people could walk on fire or water. Others could fly in the air. Each one has a power according to the type of mediation he is into. That is, If we were to speak of mediation in general, because most people consider spiritual mediation as dealing with dead people only, like in some Western television shows, this is a very specific type of spiritual mediation, which is not correct. Spiritual mediation is using any ability to connect with the metaphysical in general.
Is the spiritual medium capable of making any predictions of the future? And how correct are his predictions?
In some cases, yes, he could. We are not claiming that this medium has godly knowledge, but we could know scientifically how events come to pass in the first place, according to the latest research conducted on both the scientific and spiritual fronts. When a person succumbs to a disease, the pain he feels is only the last manifestation of the disease. This has been scientifically proven. A disease enters first through the spiritual subconscious bodies and then settles in a physical body, which is the last body. When the disease enters the physical body, it starts harming the vital organs and thereby causes the person pain that leads him to consult a doctor. Before this physical manifestation, a normal person would not be able to see the disease coming from his subconscious bodies, but some people are able to see the details of the disease as it moves in the subconscious bodies before it manifests in the physical body. This has become a very famous science in the United States and many other countries, and has recently become available in the Middle East, for there are instruments which are able to measure the aura and photograph it. The aura camera is able to detect ailments or swelling of the chakras, and so by using it, the practitioner is able to tell that in a few months, if you do not consult a doctor, a certain disease would manifest. He could detect a disease as heart disease if the camera shows electromagnetic pathways centered abnormally above the heart, in addition to leakage of energy in other areas. When there is an upcoming disease, a medium could see that the overall energy system or aura around the body is unstable, and so he is able to predict that a disease is on the way. This is just like weather forecasters, who measure the temperature and the wind speed, in addition to air pressure and other variables, in order to be able to predict the weather for the following days. Of course, this is not an exact science, for temperatures and humidity may vary, and the wind could change direction. This is why these are only predictions. A spiritual person could tell people, because of his spiritual transparency, that he predicts an ailment to befall on a certain person. This is not because he sees the future, but because of careful observation of the other subconscious bodies that he could see very clearly, since he sees beyond the physical, whereas a normal person does not see beyond his physical dimension. Therefore, this person is able to predict some events that could actually occur, just like he pictured them, as long as no outside variable or catalyst enters the equation, and so change the events. To make things simple, let us not say, as others often say, that no one could predict the future and that it is only godly knowledge. The issue here is different, for predictions are scientific, and the predictor has the ability to see many things that the normal person could not see. He does so by employing his subconscious bodies to see the other people's subconscious bodies, and so he can see what is coming to them. We are not speaking of knowing fates, but of predicting events. This is well-known phenomenon that is both observed and talked about, despite the denials of people, for it is definitely out there.
How could we distinguish between a true spiritual medium and a fake one?
This is a smart question, because it is very important to know the distinction. I am going to categorize the people claiming to be mediums before I continue. Many of these people are not involved with spirituality in the first place. Their claim upon spirituality is void. These people use cleverness and tricks, as I have mentioned before, to make others believe that they are who they claim to be. To answer your question, I must first exclude those people who have no dealings with the metaphysical in the first place. As to those who are actually mediums, how could we distinguish between a true positive spiritual medium that we could have safe dealings with and an evil medium who could do us harm? We do this by observing the quality of life which this person leads. If this medium is known to be honest, loyal, and deals kindly with others, is modest, and has a strong bond with his creator. If he does all the acts that strengthen his spirituality, and if this person leads an organized life, and has several personal projects, if he is a complete normal person, who is specialized by his transparency of spirit, then this person is a true positive, spiritual medium, who could benefit others. On the other hand, if this medium has many things wrong going on in his life, has a criminal record, steals, lies, has no friends, not to be relied upon, and does not uphold his promises. If these traits show on a medium, or people notice them upon him, then you must realize that the powers he has come from outside sources, which are most probably demonic, not spiritual. This is how you could distinguish between a true and a false spiritual medium. You have to look at how he leads his life, and how he deals with others.
Could the powers that a spiritual medium possesses be subject to the rules of parapsychology?
Of course, for powers range in their strength and dimensions. For some people may have a few small powers, while others have many strong powers. As we see on television these days, some people have shown supernatural powers on a higher level than before. People such as Chris Angel have shown abnormal powers, which science has failed to explain. However, they are still under study, for there are specialized institutions of parapsychology that are dedicated to studying these phenomena in an effort to utilize them and subject them to the physical laws. Sometimes they succeed in studying some of these phenomena, and other times they fail in explaining from where these powers come from, or they fail to subject them to the physical laws. However, this is still a new science, which is growing by the minute. Recently, the West has admitted that there are many things which could not be realized by the senses or by physical instruments. Instead, they must utilize metaphysical senses in order to realize the metaphysical worlds. So yes, a spiritual medium could be classified under the science of parapsychology up to a certain extent, and as this science grows, and it is more able to encompass spiritual mediation.
Our last question is, how does one become a spiritual medium?
The issue here is not about choosing a different career, for I do not recommend anyone to go into those fields if he does not already have a gift from God Almighty. This person must possess, from the moment of his birth, a certain gift that he must work on and develop by studying it thoroughly from all aspects, such as awareness and legality. There must be a foundation to be built upon. Before he starts being a medium, there must first be a gift which he could study and develop. He cannot develop a power that was not there in the first place. Some people have an immense desire to obtain some powers. This is not wrong if done under careful guidance by a master, or else great harm may befall on this person. Again, I do not recommend anyone to enter this field without means of guidance. However, some people enter this field to achieve their own ends that are mostly negative, but I guarantee you that these people are going to cause themselves great harm, because what comes easily could disappear just as easily.
In conclusion, I would like to thank you, Master Ibrahim, for sharing these great truths with us, and for explaining to our viewers many details about spiritual mediation. Thank you very much.